Boker Tov, good morning. Another day in the heated environment of whatever this is, summer. Oh, summer. The heat wave that is upon us. I'm feeling a little bit bad for, all of the schools that have graduations and proms and things. It's brutal out there. It's fine this morning, but you only know by the haze that it will be one of those days that is just hot and soupy. So we hope that we all have, places for respite, be it a, air-conditioned home, office, car. Maybe you're going to get some time away today on Juneteenth. Maybe you don't have to work, but maybe you do. Maybe you'll find something else to do, something that's different on this day. And so this week's parsha, this week's Torah reading is B'ha'alotcha. And so we learn of Moses' continued leadership, but with leadership comes trouble and frustration. So Moses says to God, why have you dealt ill with your servant? And why have I not enjoyed your favor? That you have laid the burden of all of this people upon me. Did I conceive all this people? Did I bear them? That you should say to me, carry them in your bosom, as a nurse carries an infant, to the land that you have promised on oath to their fathers. Where am I to get meat to give all these people when they whine before me and say, give us meat to eat? I cannot carry all of these people by myself, for it's too much for me. If you would deal thus with me, kill me rather, I beg you. From Numbers 11:11. So God tells Moses to gather the elders and officers whom possess skills and experience to the tent of meeting. Say, hey, what do you have? What can you do? What are you good at? What are your strengths? What are you offering or able to offer us? So 70 chosen Israelites are said to have received the Spirit of God, which was a sign that Moses' selection of assistants was ratified by God. Now, of course, 2 Jews, 3 opinions, which means a lot of Jews, a lot of more opinions. And so there are different theories and interpretations surrounding whether these elders were viewed or held as prophets, as they had received the Spirit of God, and how long the prophecy would last. I think about this portion a lot, because I think about, being a leader and the weight of what leadership holds. And so thinking about the more important aspect of this passage, that Moses in his selfless ways followed God's orders, even though he found himself drowning, right? He found himself overwhelmed, found himself annoyed, found himself frustrated. But in his selfless ways, he followed God's orders and found himself assistants, people, to lessen the trials and tribulations of those unhappy Jews. Couldn't be in the wilderness. He worked to address the problem and the challenge of the community and to make it better for everyone, but not only everyone, but for himself as well. He didn't say, I'll make it better for them even if it's worse for me. It was I'm going to make it better so that it's better for all of us together. Lillian Wald, a Jewish American nurse, humanitarian, author, who was known for her contributions to human rights, and was the founder of the American Community of Nursing, said, "The task of organizing human happiness needs the active cooperation of people. It can't be regulated to one half of the world. Active cooperation for such noble ends cannot be secured unless people work together." This is 90 years ago. Vassar College, which is Vassar University. A lot has changed. But we know where we are in college campuses as Jews, the anti-Semitism is unbelievable, mind-blowing. And we know that so much has changed and so much has remained the same. But in the last 9 decades or so since, Lillian Wald's address, which said hey, if we're not going to work together, there's, needs to be active cooperation. Otherwise, we'll be in the same place for a million decades in a row. But in regards to the last 9 decades since this address was given, with respect to things like stereotype and gender roles, we're not there yet. But we're reminded that too often life still breaks down along these roles, right? There's still a breakdown in so many aspects. It's not just gender. It's gender, it's sexuality, it's race, it's financial status and ability. It's so many things. Faith, religion. It doesn't matter what it is. So we think that we're working, we're getting somewhere until we're nowhere. And we all know that if we can't work as a cooperative, then there'll be no shared vision. And God's people, creation, will continue to face this struggle. No different than the problems of our own generations. Cohesiveness of people is essential, I think, for the community to reach its fullest potential. So it's, what do we stand for? What are the things that we're teaching? What are the things that we connect ourselves to? Where do we empower others to help bring about a change? Where do we empower others to speak out, to say, I support your effort. Let's get others on board. And so changes to our broken world are so desperately needed, and we know it. Changes in every aspect of our broken world need some TLC. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher, we're just like him. We can't do it alone. We need the help of community. We need the essential essence of each human soul in order to make a change. There are changes that have happened. Today is Juneteenth. And what does that mean? It means some things to some people. It's the American holiday celebrating the end of slavery. And while in my head I want to feel like that's a true something worth celebrating, I also feel like there's still so much slavery. Maybe not the same kind, but there's still. And so, celebration of the end of slavery, maybe to a specific people and in a specific time, okay. But as Jews, we are cognizant, we are aware of the core of the Jewish story, as it were, is the Exodus from Egypt, which impels us to fight against any slavery anywhere. And so this celebration of the milestone of emancipation for Black American slaves, though it is a celebration, it's a day off, it's a holiday, even in that, reflection of what it's about, it acknowledges that we still have work to do. Moses still had work to do even after he appointed who he needed, even after it got better. There's still always work to be done. Just like in the celebration of Juneteenth, we acknowledge as Jews, as humans, as people, as Americans, that there's still so much work to pursue. The American ideals for promise of justice and equality are not yet met. And I think for us, it's a call to say we better do it. So we offer a prayer for Juneteenth. Our God, compassionate Redeemer, emancipator, liberator of the oppressed, downtrodden, enslaved. You heard our ancestors' cries as slaves in Egypt, freed us from harsh labors with an outstretched arm, delivered us from bondage, took us to be your people, and brought us to our promised land. You heard the cries of black slaves in this country, freed them officially on this day with an outstretched arm. May you continue to deliver us from bondage, the bondage of injustice. Take us to be your people, treated by all with love, equality, and bring us to a moment when this land fulfills its promise. Ever listening, attentive one, hear us now. The journey has been long, the steps arduous and ongoing. But we celebrate the freedom of this day with love and memory, with honor, resolve to be a force of positive change, and fervent hope for freedoms yet to be realized. As you have shown us compassion, help us to be compassionate. As you have liberated us, help us to stand up against injustice everywhere. As you have delivered us, help us fight for freedom, the freedom for all who are still enslaved. Remember us, hear us, and be with us always. And let us say, Amen. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Have a beautiful day. Remember, allergy medicine, hydration, sunscreen. Let's celebrate whatever freedoms that we have and be cognizant and aware that we still have a lot of work that needs to be done. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai.